afternoon and welcome. My name is Kimo Tynes. I am the Director of Communication based in the Office of the Premier in Public Policy. There is a quote I often return to that feels especially fitting for today. Leadership is not about the next election, it is about the next generation. Today's conversation takes place at a meaningful moment for the government and for the country. We are marking 1 year since the administration was overwhelmingly re-elected by the people. A renewed mandate grounded in trust, expectation, and a clear call to deliver. This interview is not about slogans and sound bites. It is about reflection, responsibility, and results. It is an opportunity to hear directly from ministers entrusted with turning commitments into action. Those responsible for moving policy from paper to people's lives. Over the past year, the government has been navigating a complex global environment while responding to very real domestic pressures. And yet, the focus has remained steady, strengthened institutions, delivering results, and building a country that works better for its people. Today's discussion is intended to be open, honest, and conversational. While we have guiding questions, this is meant to be a free-flowing exchange, one that allows space to reflect on what has been achieved, what is still in motion, and what lies ahead. So thank you for joining us today, and I want to thank our ministers for taking the time to be with me this afternoon. This is an important conversation as we reflect on 1 year of renewed mandate and continued service. So let's begin. If you don't mind, I would like to start with Honorable Saunders, Minister responsible for Innovation, Technology, and Energy. Minister Saunders, a bit of breaking news today. The e-pay system that the government has largely talked about over the last year has finally been implemented. I know you're celebrating over $1 million having been collected since it's been instituted. Can you tell us how that is going, sir?
It is going well. We launched it just about 2 weeks ago, and to date we have just short of 1,000 users, persons who've signed up for accounts. We have a little bit more than $1 million of the transactions have been going through it. The feedback has been great. So I've had persons who actually reached out to me and said, "Oh, I'm using it, I like it, but you should do this and you should do that." One of them being wanting it to multiple languages. Some of them talked about pushing more for it in the family islands. And so what it tells me is that the public has a vested interest in it. They like it. They see it as something that's belonging to them. That's the reason why they care about it. Daily transactions are growing day on day, which means that more and more people are getting through it. Now, we're starting to face some challenges now, and the challenges has to do with lots of persons using it concurrently. So yesterday, for the first time, we saw where it started to give some usage issues just because a lot of people was using it at the same time. But this is the type of things that happens when you launch an application for the first time. People start to use it, and then you see where the issues are, and you're able to fix it. So far, so good. It's going very well.
Very good. If I may, I've got some statistics here from your department. You're averaging about 39 users a day signing up
Yes.
since it's been instituted.
Yeah.
What does that tell you about Turks and Caicos and our innovation or our technology-driven economy?
Well, it tells two things. Once it says that people are starved for innovation, they want it. I mean, we are very North Americanized. We're a little bit more than an hour away from Miami. We got American television. And everything that we see that's being done over there, we want to have it here. And particularly a lot of our young people would have gone to school to either North America or in Europe, and they're used to using these things. So when they came back home and realized they couldn't do it, it frustrated them. So I think the uptick is going to be, it's been done very quickly among the younger generation, those younger than me. I think the older generation will take some time, but it tells me that the people are ready for e-government, starting with the e-pay application.
Awesome. Honorable Malcolm, you are the Minister responsible for Home Affairs. Welcome. And my first question to you today is, how are you navigating being a minister, but also a representative of the people at the same time? I believe I can ask the whole panel this. I should ask the whole panel this to chime in. How are you navigating the workload of being both in the executive, but also being a representative of the people at the same time? So people still call you with their issues, I'm sure, hoping for you to address their problems or assist in some way in addressing their problems, or their situations, etc. How are all of you navigating that? I'll start with you, Honorable Malcolm, please.
Well, Chemo, I get that on a daily basis, 24 hours a day. A typical day starts for me. I get into the office, and I'm not kidding, within 10 minutes, my EA will come to the office and say, Minister, there's 5 people out there to see you. Can you see them? One person come in, but by the time she sends the next person, Minister, 15 people is in the foyer to see you. And they will come in with different issues. Sometimes it's not related to my ministry. And they say, oh, we came to you, you are a representative. So you have to deal with it. And certainly, so it doesn't matter which area that their problem exists. I seek to do that. It's not easy to navigate representing the whole country and running a ministry. And I'm in a huge dynamic, very dynamic hands-on ministry. So
we will dive into that further.
Yes.
Honorable Musgrove, you have the hat of being a constituency MP as well as as a minister for a very critical ministry in government. How are you navigating that responsibility of doing both?
Thank you, Kemo. You know, I remember when I first started in government, I used to go home every weekend. Sometimes starting from
go home as into your
my constituency.
Yes.
Starting from Thursday, I go home.
Okay.
You know, now with this new ministry I have, you work every day on Saturdays and Sunday, and everybody needs a little road contract. And when there's a little flooding issue, everybody want to do a little cleanup. Not to mention there's not enough money in the budget because we didn't prepare for flooding or for a disaster like that to happen. So instead of me going home every weekend to see my people, you know, I have to pick one day out of the weekend and do that. So it's a little difficult, and being the minister for physical planning, PPID, it's just difficult. It's tough. It's a lot of work. You know, I just telling my colleague EJ a while ago, I was up until 4 o'clock this morning doing stuff and trying to navigate some of the road problems we have, some of the infrastructure problems we have. But, you know, I guess that's why they elect us.
Great. Sanders, and you, how are you navigating that awesome task of being a minister as well as a representative at the same time?
Well, for me, I don't. I see myself as a problem solver, more like an engineering problem solver. So for me, it was that whenever anyone brings any issue to me, I just start digging through it and start dealing with it. So I don't think of it as whether it falls under my ministry, whether it falls under the outside of my ministry. I just try to solve it. So, for instance, someone may bring a problem to me, and it may fall squarely within my ministry, and I have the ability to make a decision on it, and I go and make a decision on it. But if someone may come to me and that has Honorable Musgrove's ministry, and I would pass it on and say, Honorable Musgrove, have you seen this? Why don't you try this? And there's been at least one case where someone kept on coming to me and calling me, but the person actually berated me because they were frustrated because something was moving slowly in a different ministry. And I sent an email to the people and said, well, I think you guys should try this, and this. And then we all got together and we discussed it. So for me, I don't think about it, and I don't think I'm even given the chance to think about it because I'm an all-island candidate. So everyone will claim that I represent them, but I don't approach problems by where the person is from or which ministry. I approach it by, can I solve the problem?
Yes.
If I can, then find the person who can solve the problem.
Yes.
If I can, then solve it.
All right. Honest. I appreciate that. Well, Musgrove, back to you. If I may, you all ministers can chime in here and agree or disagree or discuss this, but housing is a big issue for the people of this country at this very time. last year, cabinet, which all of you sat in during that time, I believe it's last year, a 91 apartment complex was approved. Can you provide an update on the status of the project, including construction timelines, if you are aware, the infrastructure readiness for such a project, and the expected economic or housing benefits? We recognize that housing is a big need in Turks and Caicos. I think housing is a big need globally.
Yeah.
We have a country
Yes.
to go around.
Yes.
Housing is a big need.
Yeah.
We hear about it from the UK to US, even in our regional counterparts. They're talking about the need for more housing. So either of you gentlemen can chime in to discuss how you feel about the housing situation.
Well,
Sir.
Kim, as you know, we have a housing crisis, and we had an ITT that went out a few months ago. Unfortunately, we're having, as the Premier mentioned in his address the other day, we had that fail. So we're going back to the drawing board, and I outlined some stuff last night that I'm planning on doing. I will talk to my colleague during the week or next week, and see if we can put in place. We have the formula for it. It's just that we have to put the things in the right place at the moment. As for the new development that we passed in cabinet a few weeks ago, that is in the infant stage. The developers are moving as rapidly as they can. It's in the planning board stage, and hopefully, once that passes, then the developers will begin construction. The infrastructure, we talk about the infrastructure today. It's an issue because when you have that amount of people coming in just for the development we have coming around,
If I may, when you say we talk about infrastructure today, you mean
the road infrastructure.
and cabinet talked about infrastructure.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we want to say that so the public is aware.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh, we
Yeah,
we,
go
we,
constantly
Yeah.
we're
discussing.
constantly discussing it. So we talk about extra
They
roads.
know the cabinet is aware of the issues that the
Yes.
public are facing.
We are we
Yes,
are
we
aware of it. We talk about doing new roads. Probably put that in the budget.
Okay.
But at the moment, we are doing some bypass road to alleviate some of the traffic.
Okay.
We are sending out a release maybe today or tomorrow.
Okay.
In terms of some roads we have to block off because the problem is most people doesn't know how to drive.
Right. And you're talking about bypass roads on Providential.
On Providentialis. We are only talking about Providentialis.
Mainly.
There's no road congestion in South Grand Turk and North.
Okay. All right.
Or Middle Caicos.
Not yet.
Not yet,
We,
not
we-
yet,
we-
no.
we have Gulf congested in Grand Turk.
Grand Turk, yeah. But I think within another 6 months or more, we would get there.
Okay.
But there's a lot of pressure on our infrastructure on the
Yeah.
whole, you know.
Yes. And these are things that are going to be outlined in the budget
Yes.
coming up in
You
the
know-
26-27 financial year.
Of
right?
course. Turks and Caicos now is one of the hottest destinations.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody wants to come here.
Everybody
And
wants
when
to develop
everybody
it.
comes, everybody wants to drive, everybody wants to rent an SUV. It's a lot of traffic on the road. And we are playing a little catch up.
Has there ever been any thought, I mean, this may be a question for you, Aaron Malcolm,
Sure.
about traffic police or putting more police officers on the road to monitor and control the traffic, especially at peak hours, Monday to Friday, school runs. We know how Providential's roads can get when schools are open and people are doing drop-offs. Has there been any thought or about even a traffic light system?
Yes. The answer on both ends is yes. We are actually tomorrow morning. I have a meeting with the management of the police, and as it relates to traffic.
Okay.
And one of the things we have already discussed is maybe the time has arrived for the Department of Transportation to have their own dedicated trained road traffic police
Yeah.
managed in tandem with the police department trained there, but come under the umbrella of transportation. But traffic has, I think I said it last night, Providenciales is literally becoming a normal city. I mean, what you're getting with traffic congestion, that is a normal characteristic of a city.
Of course.
Early morning rush hour, mid-afternoon rush hour. and late in the evening,
yes.
a rush hour. It's just the dynamics of a growing city. And today, Honorable Musgrove and Honorable Sanders can tell you, we discussed earlier today. We may have to consider how we can slow down the development to catch up
Right.
with infrastructure.
No, years ago, the government of Bermuda instituted that one car per household family. I'm not saying the government of Turks and Caicos is looking at that, because now you have homes where the housekeeper has a car. The children are living at home. There's 4 cars in one family.
God, no.
That is the truth.
Well, Kimo, Turks and Caicos, our dynamics is different from Bermuda. Honorable Musgrove can tell you, Honorable EJ, he worked when he was younger, as teenagers, even though I'm older than him, as teenagers. When you first came to Providence Islands is literally an unplanned city. And because it's an unplanned, the difficulties with fixing those normal city issues is very complex. And so we are a highly tourist driven destination, which means most of our workforce work within the tourist industry. And so you're traversing or traveling from different angles of Providence Islands. We have one main road right now, which everything is linked from the airport to Leeward on Leeward Highway. And so the fix is not it is not just simple. To be honest, I'm glad I'm not the minister of PBID right now, because you could see why he's having sleepless night. At least I get to bed at 2. he have 2 more hours. But no, it's not an easy fix. And yes, the time has come to consider having traffic police to help police the roads during the day. And today, if you notice, I was surprised at after 3, the evening traffic,
It's getting worse.
but not just coming down. It was also in the opposite direction.
that's different.
There was no accident.
That was different.
So it is definitely an issue that is on the top of our government's priorities.
Before EJ chime in, we are also considering traffic lights
Yes.
at a few junctions and roundabouts here in Providence Islands.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that will help control
Right.
the drivers to a certain extent.
And just to clarify, that the traffic lights is actually already here. And I think
Yes.
most people, the Department of PBID, the transportation, and the police department, we work in tandem. The Department of Transportation, we are responsible for the ordinance, the laws, the regulations, the safety of the roads. The police is responsible to carry out, to police the law. And the PBID is responsible for infrastructure. So the job, while the lights are here, the job of the PBID is.
And we have to bring Honorable EJ on
Yeah,
to do the timing of the
because
lights.
he got to do the timing of the lights. I was going to get to innovation. Yeah.
Perfect. Because this brings him in perfectly,
Yes.
because with the technology aspect,
Yes.
with those of us who have traveled overseas or lived overseas and know, when you run a red light, you get a ticket in the mail, and you have to pay that ticket.
Yes.
and it's on your record.
Yes.
So, Sanders, I don't know.
My job would be getting the tickets. They have the hard job of building it. But some of the things that that my ministry is considering, just to tie to this, but slightly different in some sense. We've already awarded a contract for a consultant to come and to do a consultation on what we call Smart City, Safe City. It was we started it when we had violent crime was an issue, and then now we're on top of violent crime. So we're going to be doing a lot of it around smart city technologies. And so one of these smart city technologies relating to road and traffic is better street lighting. Because one of the issues that we have here is that parts of the roads very dark.
Yeah.
And so we're looking at smart street lights. We're looking at street lights. Some of them will have CCTV cameras built into it to be able to do the things that you talk about, license plate number recognition, to make sure that the city is safe. What I would like to see done also is where you have motion detectors on the lights, So it's very, very bright when traffic is busy.
Yes.
Let's just say between 8 and 1 o'clock in the morning. It's when traffic is up on the weekend.
Yes.
But at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, when traffic dies down, the lights will dim down a bit.
Yes.
And so you don't have light pollution
Yes.
in people's homes. But when traffic's on the road, it's well bright. So those are the things. Now, I would say that from a technology point of view, my problems are a little bit easier than these guys' problems because I could just roll out bring in a new piece of tech and then have it ready.
Right.
He has to have sleepless nights thinking, where am I going to come up with a new road from? You can't just click your finger and come up with a new road. But
True.
but it all ties together, and we
Absolutely.
think
It
that in a
does.
year or two, some of these problems would have been not completely go away, but we would have made it easier for persons.
I appreciate that totally. Musgrove, we can turn to you. Can you tell our audience give an island by island infrastructure update? What is happening in the Ministry of Physical Planning and Infrastructure on Grand Turk? And I know last year you did some road development bridges to address some of the flooding, etc. that happened there. But can you provide an overview of what's happening by island by island? Let's
Okay.
go. Grand Turk and South Caicos.
Yeah, Grand Turk, we are doing some roads in the Cadet allotment area and southern portion of that. And coming up for Grand Turk, we are doing the East Suburb roads.
Okay.
That's going to be in the budget. And some roads in Palm Grove. There's a lot of CEP works.
So people who are watching, you're talking about the east suburbs, they don't know what that is. We're talking about South Back
South
Salina.
Back Salina.
Okay.
So we're doing a lot.
East Arrow.
Off East Arrow, yeah.
East Tower.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing a lot of paving up in that area coming up. But at present, we already the cabinet awarded the contract to a contractor for the Cadets allotment and some other roads up in Breezy Bay there.
Okay.
For South Caicos, we just sent a team over there today, so in case people will see that.
Okay.
We are paving that road by going to the community center.
Okay.
That road have never been paved.
Sarah Hill.
Yeah, Sarah Hill. You know it. We're
Yeah.
paving that road.
Yes.
And then we had $1 million in the budget to pave the road as part of the bridge going to Sail Rock.
Okay. Wow.
But we had to pull that because we found out that road is a little bit low lying,
Okay.
and we have to build up that road about 2 feet.
Yeah.
And then so that money will be going back into the budget this year.
Okay.
Our team just this week evaluate the tender for the housing restoration.
Okay.
And so that will be coming out soon, who the contractors are for that,
Okay.
and we begin that work.
Awesome.
Middle Caicos, thank God the tender for the Bambara Beach has finally went out. It's out now. We're returning, I think, on 4th of March, I believe. Then we did a lot of work for the basketball court in Kangba. We're doing a playground for the children in Kangba. We're doing some work in Middle Caicos. We did a community center for Middle Caicos, renovate that whole community center
Yes.
at Middle Caicos. Bathroom facilities in Laramis.
Yes.
So a lot of stuff is going on in Middle Caicos. Fortunately for us in Middle Caicos, we don't need any more paved roads.
Okay.
The previous PNP governments did that already.
Okay.
As for North Caicos, we are working with the land department now and my DAPSAC, Chow Williams, to figure out where we're going to put the community center. We have the money for that. We have the community center with the shelter, basketball court inside as well.
Okay.
We're doing the Whitby Road, all that road down through Providence Baptist Church, come back around by, I call it Clifford Hotel, Ocean Beach.
Okay. Yes.
So we're doing all of that. That's phase 1.
Okay.
And then phase 2 will be in 2026, 2027 budget.
Oh, wow.
We did a lot of community enhancement work. As for Whitby Community Center, everybody know that was abandoned. We have one building left in there now. I think the contract is with the governor's office for contract because it went outside of the $75,000.
Right.
And so she's signed that, then that will be completed. And community center in Whitby will be operational again, along with the old Miss Forbes building. She was a teacher back in the 1900s. And so they gave us that building, and we renovated that building. The wall is about 3 feet thick.
Wow.
And then we're doing some other CEP works in North Caicos.
Okay.
Also, there's one more road left in queue,
Okay.
and we'll be paving that in the next budget. But in Providentiales, we're doing You see the tenders out. We got two or three tenders out for Leeward Highway. We got tenders out for the Lower Bida Road. We got two tenders out for Long Bay. We put up a CEP works out to break down, demolish the old clinic in Blue Hills.
Okay.
Because that's going to be a 5 to 6,000 square foot community clinic
Okay.
in Blue Hills. It's going to be in that same area on East the
Yeah.
Bay Road.
On Bay Road, yes.
And we do a lot of other CEP works. I think we got something for Honorable Kyle Knowles down in Wheeling there, a boat ramp. We are waiting for him to finish design the gazebo and everything, and then we're moving.
Wow. So there's a lot in the
Lots.
pipeline.
Oh,
There's a lot
it's a lot doing,
Yes.
and then it's a lot in the pipeline.
Awesome. Thank you for that update. Honorable Sanders, if I may turn to you. Last year, the government unfortunately suffered a system outage across payment services. You know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
I know what you're talking about. December 2024.
Yes, it seems like yesterday. Can you provide an update on what the government is doing, or your ministry is doing, I assume, you can clarify, to prevent such a thing from happening again, or what safeguards have been put in place so that it won't happen again? We now have ePay, but I mean, can you enlighten the audience, please?
Yeah, and thank you, but I know the public is asking a lot about that. There was the incident happening, and that happened in December 2024. I would say that it's unfortunate that it happened. I would say that when I was looking through some of my emails for something else, and I had to go all the way back to 2022 and 2023, one of the emails that I saw was an update that came about a cyber incident that happened in Bermuda. And I know of cyber incidents that happened in the Bahamas, and at the same time, I think there was the cyber incident that happened here, one that happened with some government departments in the United States. And so the reason why saying this is to say, is that if you have IT systems, there's going to be IT. You're going to have cyber incidents from time to time. That's just the nature of it. It's kind of like if you're alive, you're going to get sick once or twice. And so the whole thing about it, though, is that in addition to try to ensure your defense is to make sure that your IT systems don't have any cyber incidents, the most important thing is how can you recover from it? How quickly can you recover from cyber incidents? And so we want to get to a point where our recovery time is well within a working day. And so there's a few things that we're doing. So one, we're making our system more resilient. We hired a CISO, which is a Chief Information Security Officer. So they're going to look at things like our firewalls, our backup policies, and backup procedures and everything. But what we want is that I want where if at nighttime, like after 5 o'clock, if there's a cyber incident happen, that the public doesn't even know about it, because by the time they get back to work at 8 o'clock, by the time the public starts the working day by 8 o'clock the next morning, the system is back online.
Awesome.
And so those are the two things we're doing. One, we're making our system more resilient, but I don't want to go out there and say, we'll never have any cyber
you
incidents.
can't
I don't
predict
want to
that.
even challenge.
Yes, you
persons
can't
who-
even predict that,
Yeah,
yes.
challenge persons who would probably then go and say, well, let us
Yes.
show you that we can get into your system.
Right.
But where I want to get us to, and this is we're already making huge progress towards it, that if a cyber incident happened,
Right.
we're able to recover. It's kind of like, and I have this conversation with my daughter who was this year. She was talking about, oh, Dad, you need to go get a flu shot. And so in her mind, a flu shot would be that if I get sick, then I would only be down for 24 hours,
Right.
versus if I don't take the flu shot and I'm down for a whole week. So what we are doing is the equivalent of giving our system the flu shots.
Correct.
So
Awesome.
if it gets sick, if there's a cyber incident, we can be up within, like I said, within less than a working day.
Awesome. Awesome. I appreciate that. I think the public will appreciate that.
Oh, yeah.
Knowing that it's being safeguarded and protected. Minister Malcolm, your Ministry of Home Affairs touches the lives of everyday people almost every day. Across such a wide and people-facing portfolio, what has you been doing, your core priorities since assuming this position, and how are you measuring whether the ministry is truly delivering for the public? You can expand and talk about the deliverables you have delivered since assuming the ministry since 2020, February 2025.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So, Kimo, you're so right. The ministry is a very huge, dynamic ministry. When I first arrived there about a year ago, I told the directors and the managers of the ministry that this is the People's Life Documents Ministry. People depends on the Ministry of Home Affairs. A lot of people didn't know what we do in Home Affairs, but it covers a number of areas from citizenship to
Yes.
naturalization,
It does, yes.
to Register General, which covers p- uh, uh, birth
Births and
certificates,
deaths, yes.
death certificates, registration of debentures,
Marriages.
marriage certificates. We cover we also cover passports. We cover, of course, then there's the DMV, transportation, religious affairs, which is
Yes.
a other area. We have status cards.
Yes.
So the public, it is a ministry that the public depends on. When I arrived there, we all know the loud noise you could have heard in the public, having issues where passports was taking so long. People apply for years for the PRCs, nothing is moving. And so I have managed to get in there. While it's not easy, I'm focusing more on restructuring the entire ministry. I had a lot of support from Might, because if you want to deliver to the people, especially their documents, you need definitely you
Technology
need
to weigh on your side.
technology to deliver that. The ministry on a whole, I also have local government. And one of the things we have commitment as a government we have made to the people of this country from our first term, that we will deliver local government, and with the help of my team.
Now
we-
for the audience, sorry to cut you, but for the audience, tell them what is local government.
Well-
For people who don't know,
well,
say for example, if you are in Grand Turk, and you probably will not have local government. I don't think it's going to be.
Not yet.
But not yet,
Not
but
yet,
because
yeah.
we are focusing on the second phase of local
Okay.
government. We are focusing on Providenciales and Grand Turk. But
Okay.
in the island of North Caicos, Middle Caicos, South Caicos,
Saul Key.
and Saul Key, a lot of the legwork was done in the last term,
Right.
through the minister here, Minister Musgrove and Minister Morris. And of course, there's continuity in government. And so I was able to pick it up, ran with it, and deliver it as we had promised in our manifesto. It is a part of the huge vision of our premier. He wanted to see, he had made the commitment to the country that we would bring government local to the other islands, and that I was able to accomplish in July of last year. We just get our first report as to, after the first 6 months how it's working. The people are excited. It brings government to close to home in the island. I also have district commissioners,
yes,
also falls under the Ministry of Home Affairs. And so the other islands are certainly having a little more autonomy, a little more control on what they want to see in their communities. Their local government, they have their budget. Some of them has done a great job of using it, and
Yes.
that's what it's there for. And so it is working out well for them. As I said, the Ministry of Home Affairs, I'm focusing more on restructuring the ministry. For instance, most of these documents that I talk about, we have the one-stop shop that falls in border control and immigration. So you have a situation where the documents is onboarded at the one-stop shop, and then it's sent to Home Affairs for processing. And so what I've put to my colleagues, and they have agreed, is that if I'm going to be responsible to deliver the products to the output, then I want the responsibility of the intake. And so you will see a lot of work going on there. And then we have our other huge project that our government has promised, and we are working on through the Office of the Premier and Might. that of national ID,
Oh, yes.
which is a huge, which will actually revolutionize the way we process and do things here, and it speaks more to our national security. So,
Awesome.
and then I was able to accomplish the split in the social welfare department where we have managed because social welfare also falls in home affairs. So is gender affairs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also fall in who. So you see, it's a huge
It is a-
dynamic
yeah.
ministry.
Yeah.
But
It
we
touches-
were able to accomplish the split, separating welfare, the Department of Welfare
Right.
Enhancement from safeguarding,
Yes.
which deals with
Children.
the welfare of the children,
Yes.
foster care, adoptions, and the enhancement side focus more on the indigents,
Right.
welfare payments,
Yes.
funeral benefits. So our government, we came to power from the first time focusing a lot on taking care of the social needs of our people. And we have, I said it last night, I believe we have done a marvelous job in trying to help our people all across this country. There's room for improvement, but certainly
The work is being done.
A lot of work is being done.
That's very important. I mean, Minister Musgrove, if I can turn to you. Thank you for that, Minister Musgrove. If I can turn to you, I was recently following the Barbados general election where Mia Mottley won. When she won, she talked on the stage that very night about traffic congestion in Barbados. Barbados is a single island country. Turks and Caicos is a multi-island country. So we have to replicate these services and these needs across multiple islands. So my question to you is, you talked about it a little earlier, road rehabilitation priorities. If people cannot get to work because they're stuck in traffic on Blue Hills Corner or they're stuck in traffic at Susie Turn, can you tell us what, you hinted at it earlier about bypass. Can you tell us what is being done to address this in the future if people are continuously unable to get to work or get to work on time?
See, some of these roads, what we lack also is a lot of turning lanes. The stretch is too far, right? So if you're going to somewhere on the highway, you have to leave from the roundabout from by beaches, and your next roundabout is at IGA, right? So that person could easily, you should have a turning lane somewhere in that area to go back up the road to catch whatever on the other side of the road. So we are looking at that as well. But for the bypass road, we are doing a road from Dewitt Center straight up to Venetian Road.
Okay.
We just discussed that in our meeting yesterday. We have one or two pieces of property we have to acquire, and I think we're on track of doing that. There's a road we're doing from 5 Keys. That's in 2026, 2027 budget. From the 5 Keys to the back of the airport to connect up with those properties in the back there. And by doing that, you open up those properties as well.
Right.
That's a good potential for a nice housing development.
Right.
And of course, we're doing a road from Millennium Highway through Dockyard, coming connect up into Q Town,
Okay.
and that will alleviate traffic as well.
Traffic. Okay.
We're talking with the education department, trying to see if we can get the schools upgraded to Clement Howell High School, upgrade from 3rd form straight up to 5th form, and Long Behind from 1st form straight up to 5th form.
Okay.
Be assisting her with that, and that will help with the traffic as well.
Okay.
Because I think Long Bay goes up from
First to third.
1st to 3rd.
Now, and
So all the people from Long Bay have to go to Clement Howell High. So that causes a lot of
For
traffic
4th
as
and
well.
For fourth and fifth form.
4th and 5th form.
Yes.
And the people who live in Blue Hills have to go up to Long Bay
first, second, and third.
second, and third. So that is causing a lot of chaos. So once we help that a little bit, that will slow down the traffic as well.
Yeah.
So all the Blue Hills kids, Wheeling kids, and maybe Cheshire Hall kids on that side will go to Clement Howell High, and all the kids from this side of Cheshire Hall straight up will go to Long Bay High.
Awesome. Awesome. Honorable Saunders, within your ministry, you have Radio Turks and Caicos. Radio Turks and Caicos is a key national platform. How do you see it in its role evolving in strengthening civic education, national dialogue, and cultural identity? Wow.
Well, thank you. First of all, even before we get to that, the one of the things that we're doing, and some days I think we're closer, we're a lot closer than the public would expect. And other days I think it's not moving fast enough. But what we're, the train has already left the station. What we're doing is that we're turning it into a station, an entity that doesn't just do audio broadcasts, and also do video broadcasts. And we're starting with news. We're going to start with news 5 days a week. It's going to be live news. And one of the things some of the things we're thinking about augmenting with the news, like having, you're going to see the news trucks, the branded news trucks around, with a dish on the top of it too. So they'll be able to, like a Starlink dish, they'll be able to do things from the field. So that's just one set of the content.
Okay.
Right now we have an app that has 5 channels on it. 4 of them are audio and musical channels, but one of them is configured for video channels. And then we're going to be broadcasting our video content on YouTube, Facebook, and doing some small segments to on for like Instagram and TikTok. Now that's just the medium. That's just the broadcast medium.
Yes.
They're coming down in terms of the content now. So once we get all of that set up and everything, we're able to broadcast audio and video. And then when we start off, the video may make up 1 hour a day of our programming. So we're programming 24 hours a day. 23 hours of that will be audio programming, because anytime you turn on the radio, you can hear audio. But we're going to start with 1 hour of video programming with the news. But once we get that set up, then we're going to start to go to original content. So we're going to start to add more talk shows on it. Then we're going to start to add scripted content. So we've talked a lot about what would it look like if we did a bit of a sitcom, something that I've been thinking about for years. And when you say a sitcom, if you realize, and you were in the UK for a while, and I always use the show Desmond's as an example. Desmond's was shot only in a barbershop. And so, and Cheers was shot only inside or in a bar. And so for me, what I'm thinking is that we could probably put a sitcom that's just shot in one area, just one small little area, like Cheers or Desmond or whatever. And then, in my view, the way we would shoot is that we'd shoot it on Saturday, and then spend Saturday and Sunday you shoot it. Monday through Thursday you're editing it. You do it live on Friday. You broadcast it on Friday.
Yes.
So everybody see the Friday show.
Yes.
And then you start all over again.
Right.
So we've thought about this. We think we have a good platform put in place. I'm gonna have to give a shout out to Spotlight, because we have discussed this whole idea for years, and we think that once we get Radio Turks and Caicos up doing video, we will start to do scripted content around our culture, the things that make Turks and Caicos Islands, Turks and Caicos Islands. And so, so imagine now we'll be showcasing our culture to the world. We'll be showcasing our people to the world. So we're going to be the writers. We're going to be the producers. We're going to be the videographers of it. So it's not where someone comes down and just does something for like 15 minutes or half-hour segment. We're going to be the ones managing the content and the message. And I think that's how we're going to get there. So we're going to start off by building the infrastructure. And then you're going to see news come we're pushing very, very fast, hopefully. You're going to see the first segments of that when we do the budget. Well, it will be our news team doing the budget. And then we're going to build from that. But I do believe that a year from now, you'll start to see the first scripted content around our culture and the things that makes us uniquely Turks and Caicos Islands.
There are a lot of people who are very eager and excited, at least from my department, to get the news, because we have all this information we want to share with the public, but we don't have the proper platforms to put it on. Once your news channel is up and operational, I think you'll meet us knocking at the door.
Well,
we'll work together.
One of the things that you guys can do is that you could be one of our anchors.
Yeah, exactly.
To bring the government news.
Yes.
So you'll be at least 2 or 3 times a week. You could be there right at the table, the news desk, delivering the government news.
Absolutely. With that, Minister Malcolm, you talked a little bit earlier about social protection and vulnerable communities. Social development and welfare deals with some of the most vulnerable people in our society. How is your ministry ensuring that support, the right support reaches those who genuinely need it while maintaining accountability and fairness. This is very important for a lot of people.
Yes. As you know, the dynamics, the social dynamics in the country has definitely changed.
Yes.
As the country grows, the needs. I believe that every social you can think of is now on our doorstep. The department as well equipped. I mean, I believe that's one of the departments we have that actually managed by a whole group of qualified Turks Islanders in the social service area. The products that they offer is multiple. Also, it's growing because we are seeing a lot of our citizens are becoming ill and cannot work for certain reasons and have the need for social care.
If I may, is the
Sure.
financial assistance program is that under you
Yes.
presently? Okay,
Yes.
so you have that.
Yes,
That
yes.
program as well.
We do. And just a few weeks ago, during the supplementary, I had to get an additional $1.8 million for social services.
Right.
And as a matter of fact, when our government started out in 2021, social services was somewhere around little over $3 million. Today, we are climbing over $9 million
Oh, that's
in the
serious.
budget, and it probably will be more in the upcoming 20
That's very serious.
26, 27 budgets. But we have a proper system to vet those persons that applies for the assistant. So, and it's very stringent. So those persons who are qualified really needs to be on the various programs
Yeah.
Awesome.
that we offer.
That's great. That's important. Well, gentlemen, ministers, before we close, I really want to thank you for this engaging conversation
Yeah.
that we've had here. But I want to ask each of you this question, and you take turns in answering. What would you say to residents who feel that government services move too slowly, and what assurances can you give them that you and your individual ministries are focused on delivery, not excuses?
Well, since I'm the oldest, I'll go first.
I guess we're gonna have to go last because I'm the baby.
because you're the
I'm
baby.
the baby.
Okay, well, again, thank you for having my colleagues and I on the show tonight. Let me start with government services in North Caicos. When we took over their immigration had 2 employees. Now in North Caicos, we have about 6 employees with a well-manned office. You can go there and drop off all your immigration documents. As a matter of fact, just last week, I think most of that is online now, right? As we speak, the planning department had no presence in Northern Caicos Island. They would usually go up there like once every 2 months. As we speak, the planning department have an office in Northern Caicos. In that office, we will have a drop box that tenders, the small tenders, will drop in that box, so people won't have to pay the ferry to come to Providenciales. That office will be manned by a administrative officer there, and we'll have a development control officer there. So, Honorable Malcolm office, that department, they are strengthening that. Right? I think they now accept passport applications, status,
Yes.
and all it. When we took office in 2021, that was never there.
No.
Right? So, and I start with North Caicos because
Yeah,
I've
you're-
seen the difference.
Yeah, and you're the MP.
Right? I say the difference. As for my office and Providenciales, my ministry, I should say, the physical planning department, that is the most where we interact with the public. We have made a turnaround in there meetings are very often now. We have appeals boards meeting often. So the public, I don't know, since we came in, I haven't heard any much nuisance about planning department that can't get plans out and stuff like that. As a matter of fact, if I kept the budgetary line to show the enforcement, the money we kept from enforcement since we did. So we are out on the streets more,
Right.
right? And of course, I cannot go without complimenting the informal settlement
Right.
because we work along with them as well. We are doing some great work, you know, and we have some great people that we work with,
Awesome.
and I know the public will have seen the difference, and there will be more to come, especially for the Ministry for PPID.
No problem. Thank you for that, Rich. Minister Malcolm, I think by age, I guess. What would you say to residents who feel that government services move too slowly? And what assurance can you give them that your Ministry of Home Affairs is focused on delivery, not excuses?
Yeah. Well, Chemo, when I took over the Ministry of Home Affairs, I believe the largest cry throughout the country was about delivery and home affairs. Today, why there's certain level, but you'll notice that the noise has dwindle because we have made a concise effort to try and move people products. We discovered there was a number of issues with passports. We had fraudulent issues, and because the home office was discovering that, so it slowed down a lot of the process. And once the bundle goes to London, we have no control over that.
Correct.
But we have been working closely with the governor's office through the home office, and things are moving. We've came up with a system. I know the complaints. We are trying to move those complaints to communicate more. There's a drastic change coming. We are about to open up our own guest services suite.
Okay.
And the Minister of PPID, thank you, has been working hard to deliver that for me because we are getting ready to control all the documents
Right.
in within the ministry, and you will see PRCs, status cards, those documents rolling out on a much timely basis. So the taxi drivers, I believe,
Yes.
when I became the minister, that group of people was probably the most dissatisfied group of people in this country, especially with our government. Today, listen, 1 year later, the noise has suddenly died down because on day one, the first day I became the minister, they sent me from down the office. I went on the airport road, and within the first 2 hours of becoming the minister, I said to the PS, I said, PS, let's go. He said, where are we going, minister? I said, down to the taxi stand. He said, to the taxi stand? I say, oh yes, we're going down to the taxi stand because I want to see what are their issues. And I went to them and I said, listen, I know you got 100 issues, but give me your top 3 issues that I can focus on within the first year.
Yeah.
And see. And I did just that. And I this government, I believe they are the happiest group with this whole government that exists today.
Wow.
Because of that. And so again,
That's a bold statement.
oh yes, again, the ministry has a lot of challenges, and as we restructure, why I have moved the needle since I was there, you will see a lot of these issues being allayed. I spend every week I go through documents, PRCs, to ensure that I'm the gatekeeper
Yeah, you don't
for the
give out too much
country.
PRCs
So
now.
oh no, you wouldn't get that easy. So and besides, the ministers wouldn't they wouldn't even allow me to play around with that. They and that's what the premier expect. I pride myself. I get up and I go to work like most of my colleagues every day. The premier demands that We are here to work for the people, and as I say to my colleagues, especially the younger ones, if you don't want to serve people,
Yeah.
then don't come into this
Right.
political business,
Okay.
because it is service to people
It is.
and country.
It is.
And so
It is.
so I'll rest it there.
Okay.
Thank you. So,
Okay. And
The
for
young
you,
one.
the I would say
now the baby.
the baby of the group, the youth of the group here.
See it in my face.
Yes, Minister Saunders. My same question: what would you say to residents who feel the government services move too slow, and what assurance can you give them that your Ministry of Might, Innovation, Technology, and Energy is focused on delivery, not excuses? And I think you have been mandated with the e-governance part of it. You've begun to roll that out heavily, and we've seen the benefits of that in the last 2 weeks or so. But if I may revert back to the police records that went all virtual. I remember when I was living in London and trying to apply for a police record, and I had to explain to persons who had previously lived in Turks and Caicos and needed a police record to get one, a new job in the UK, how they could, it was a nightmare. And now we have created another nightmare. There are too many police records now, and nobody coming to collect them.
Is that the case? Yeah, I mean, to answer the question, I mean, I'll say two things. One, I'd say this though, that government's systems are designed to work a bit slower than the private sector, and the reason why is because government system have a fail-safe mechanism in it around good governance and value for money. And so a lot of times when you're in the private sector, if you need something done, you need it done the next day. You can just throw money at the problem because you just get it done. I don't care what it costs. And government, it doesn't allow you to do that. It requires you to make sure that you have all of these checks and balances. Like I said, a lot of it is around good governance. So it does move slowly, slower than the private sector. But my job, on the other hand, also is to the parts that we could speed up, is to speed it up. As you said, police records before we provided a solution, it was taking 3 months to get a police record. Now you can get it within 24 hours. It took a few hours when you wanted to pay government. But even going back to the police records, I remember when I first picked up the problem, you actually had to go and get a receipt. Then you had to go to the post office, get stamps.
Yes.
Then go to the treasury, pay the receipt, bring the stamps and the receipt back.
Yes.
Now you do it all online. Even up to 4 weeks ago, the general public had to stand in line at the treasury for hours. They had to plan their day if they were making a treasury payment to make sure that they get there before 3 o'clock. And so we've sped that up. You're going to see more services that we're going to speed up. One of the things the ePay has allowed us to do is to zoom in on that service that the public is paying the most. Just to give you an idea, when we look at it, something on the border force, they're paying quite a bit. It's the single largest line item out of ePay by far. So for me now, it's going to be like, what is that area within ePay, within border services that they're paying for, and then see if we could come up with a digitization applications for that. So you never actually have to even go into ePay to pay it. You just pay it all through.
Yes.
So we'll digitize that whole service. And then we're going to do that with all of the services. And we're going to then say, okay, what is the next single largest government service that people stand in line somewhere for? Let's say it's the DMV. And then we're going to digitize that process. And I want to be able to go ahead and say too that one of the applications that we're going to be working on, you're going to see it very soon, is an enhanced parliamentary application. You would be able to go and hear Honorable Malcolm say a speech and click on one of the words. It'll take you right into the part of the video when he said that word. And it's going to be translating his speech to text in real time.
Yes.
And so the public can interact with it. I mean, I'm speaking with the Ministry of Health about an integrated health system. You have your health records, and patients have their health portals and their health apps, so they can actually get their prescriptions. They can see their health files and everything digitized. I believe that will be online.
Transformational.
Before September.
Yeah.
So all of those things, that's how we're going to speed it up. So on one hand, we're going to ensure that we have the checks and balances around good governance. But on the other hand, government is going to move at the speed of a click.
Awesome.
I'm going to end by saying this. By this time next year, we're going to do the logo, don't queue. Say click, don't queue. That is people are going to see the benefit of it. You'll never actually have to go and stand in line to get a government service unless you want to do it for social reasons.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you all for joining us. Thank you very much for taking the time This interview will be aired following the State of the State 2026, when the Premier would give his overarching message for his vision for the country over the last year since the government has been re-elected. We will also air this interview separately on our different platforms for TCIG Communications Directorate, YouTube page, etc. But before we go, gentlemen, I just want to say that the public, most times, people just want to be heard. They just want to feel that you know or you are aware of what their struggles are or what the issues impacting their lives is. And I hope through this format here, we've gotten a sense to some of the questions I asked that you would have received that message. I know you would have received it all along as being full-time politicians as well. But I want to thank you and wish you all the best in all your future endeavors as you lead your different ministries. May God bless you, and may God bless our Turks and Caicos Islands. Thank you all for watching. Good night.